Hello and welcome to Odds on La Liga, Matchday 21. We have new leader, Real Madrid, and we had two big surprises. Alvaro, Barcelona dropping points in Getafe. We saw that coming, I must say. And Atlético de Madrid losing to Leganes.
I didn't see that one coming. Atlético losing to Leganes. Barcelona dropping points at Getafe was something that we spoke about because traveling to Getafe is not easy for Barcelona. It hasn't been over the last 5 years. But yes, it's an opportunity right now to look forward. I think that this match day is going to be quite interesting. Real Madrid has the chance to beat the bottom of the table and therefore just solidify their leadership. And it's quite remarkable that despite the start of the season, how good Barcelona did, how badly Real Madrid was faring, Real Madrid has 7 points more than Barcelona. Right now, I tell you, it looks very unlikely that Barcelona will cut 7 points on Real Madrid. It looks very unlikely because Real Madrid looks decent, if not good. But, we have to wait and see. Atlético de Madrid also looks strong and, they are as candidates to win the title as Real Madrid are, that's for sure.
7 points is a huge distance in this at the end of January, but this is a very interesting match day because it's in the sandwich between the last two match days in the Champions League and the Europa League, so perhaps we see some surprises. Let me know if you think there will be surprises in the comment section, and of course press the like if you enjoy our show. And now let's go on with the show. On Friday, Alvaro, we have Unión Deportiva Las Palmas, Osasuna. Las Palmas lost at Bernabeu. They took the lead, but they didn't compete later on. And now they are only 3 points away from the relegation, despite Diego Martinez's good numbers. Osasuna, I guess they are thinking more about the cup against Real Sociedad than in La Liga, Alvaro, because it's no wins in the last 8. In La Liga, but in the Copa del Rey, they got this massive win in San Mamés.
Yeah, they did. I think that Osasuna right now knows that they have to focus a lot as well on the cup competition because maybe they can get an access to the Super Cup thanks to that. And I believe that this game comes in an inconvenient moment for both sides because Las Palmas has lost 2 in a row. Osasuna hasn't won a football game since early November. The first 2 games in the show are going to be tricky for me to bet, and I'm going to be totally honest with our audience. I think that it's difficult to trust Las Palmas and more so Osasuna at this stage. Osasuna will be better if Brian Zaragoza is finally ready. Could be for this game against Las Palmas. Then, of course, Ante Budimir is the main attraction and danger from Osasuna, that's for sure. Has scored already 10 goals this season and he's the top scorer of Osasuna at club level in the history of the club, which is something very impressive because I don't have the feeling that the Croatian has been there for so long. And then when it comes to Las Palmas, look, 2 straight defeats, and they only collected 12 points at home, which is the joint worst record in La Liga, altogether with Valladolid and a few more other teams. So, Osasuna is in a bad moment. They haven't won since early November. Having lost Brian Zaragoza to injury is a massive blow for them. Then Las Palmas at home, they've been very unconvincing. I believe that they are better now than they were in November, October, but still, they are in a little bit of a dip in form. So, therefore, for this game, I think that is the kind of game in which I would say this is a pass, or I could see maybe Osasuna grabbing a point, a draw 320. It's an option that I don't dislike at all. But, as I said before, Las Palmas, Osasuna, and Mallorca, Real Betis, which is the next game, are for me some sort of a draw because the money is good enough over 3, like normally is, or otherwise a pass. But we'll go through it now because Mallorca Betis has some things to break down too.
Then let's go with Mallorca Betis. Mallorca thrashed by Villarreal in only 10 minutes, 4-0, but still in European spots. They haven't scored in the last 3 games. So in 2025, they are scoreless. And Betis, Alvaro, looking really bad. It's also very important for them. They are behind Sevilla for the very first time, lost to Alavés 1-3, and I'm not sure to Alavés and to Valladolid, remember, and I'm not sure Anthony is the right man to turn the situation around.
Probably not. I would say no. I remember some other players coming on loan in the middle of the season to La Liga from Manchester United and not doing well. Last season it was 𝗵𝗵𝗏𝗀𝗏, obviously with a very different profile to Anthony's. He went to Sevilla, didn't perform. I remember 3 seasons ago, Anthony Martial, I thought he was going to be a good signing on loan by Sevilla. It didn't work. And now Anthony to Betis is the rumor. Anthony will be happy, I'm pretty sure about that, to live in Spain, to play in Spain, but the loan looks difficult to me. Also because if Betis has to assume part of the salary of the player, they won't be able to do it. In fact, they are selling players constantly because they have to abide La Liga's financial fair play. So I don't see that happening, but if he comes, Anthony, it will take him some time to adapt, I guess. And by the time you adapt, it's already March or April, and there are not many games left. I don't think that it is the most clever thing that Betis could do at this stage, even though we have to say that Betis has many players in the sidelines, and that explains partially their very bad run. You said before that even Sevilla is ahead of them in La Liga. Sevilla is ahead of Betis in La Liga for the first time in 90 match days. So, it doesn't look good. I know that Betis in the Conference League are going to qualify somehow, but in La Liga, maybe this season they struggle to qualify for Europe. Pellegrini has always made it, but this season it looks more improbable or unlikely than in previous season. Betis is not in a good moment, but Mallorca neither. At the end of the day, look, Mallorca did a very good first start of the season. They got 30 points in the last 19 games. That's a projection of 60. So all hunky-dory, all good. But the year started, and in 2025, Mallorca lost in the Cup to a team from a lower division. They lost in the Super Cup, which is more understandable because they were playing against Real Madrid. But then they conceded 4 to Villarreal last Monday in only 8 minutes, Edu. And that's something that hadn't happened in La Liga since 2013, I think, when Valencia scored 5 against Malaga scored 4 against Malaga in 5 minutes. But, that defensive frailty is something that Mallorca hasn't been defined by during the season. They have to recover the defensive solidity. It's not a good moment for any of them. Betis has better players than Mallorca has proven that when they are good, they are rocky, difficult to beat. Maybe a draw no bet for Mallorca would be good, or I don't know, a draw 3-10. Again, the money is pretty decent. I can see this game ending in a draw because Betis right now, if it's not for 𝐬𝐭𝐴𝐴 or 𝐬𝐭𝐴𝐴, they don't produce a lot up front. So a draw could be good, 3-10 again, but the first 2 games of this show, for me, they are almost a pass. I prefer Atlético Villarreal, which is coming up now.
Okay, let's go, Alvaro, as you wish. For Atlético Villarreal, this should be a very good game with Villarreal fighting to get into the Champions League spots, although they are 6 points away from Athletic. Let's see if the win that you mentioned against Mallorca can boost them, because they were a bit inconsistent lately, and Atlético de Madrid broke their streak of 15 consecutive wins in Butarque with that defeat that no one expected and Griezmann missing a penalty. But they are also on a hype after beating Leverkusen in the Champions League, playing against with 10 men without Pablo Barrios. I don't know also how tired they could be after the effort, but I guess it's more important getting the points and the confidence, for instance, for Julián Álvarez. What a signing for La Liga.
Yeah, very good for Atlético de Madrid. The player looked like eager to come to Atlético. Atlético was eager to sign Julián Álvarez, and it was a fit made in heaven, a match made in heaven, at the end, made in heaven. At the end, Atlético de Madrid needed new energy, and that's why they brought new footballers. And Julian Alvarez brings you a lot of speed, intensity, power, and he's a very good striker, and he plays perfectly with Antoine Griezmann. So yeah, the signing has been a success. I have to say about Atletico that not only they are defensively almost as good as they were in the best years of Simeone, they have conceded only 13 goals, which is a very good number, but also I think that this team has a manager who is very ready to use every substitution in games. I think that no manager in La Liga and probably in the big five leagues in Europe uses the substitutions more than Simeone. He always uses the 5 of them. And a result of that is that Atletico is capable of turning games around or winning them in the last minutes. I remember Atlético de Madrid got late wins against Barcelona with a goal from Sorloth, against Athletic de Bilbao with a goal from 𝐵𝗓𝗏, against Paris Saint-Germain, against Bayer Leverkusen, and so on. Atletico is winning a lot of games in the last minutes because they've got a lot of energy, because Simeone is always doing the substitutions in order to keep the energy levels of the team. And it's working very well. It's working very well for Atlético de Madrid. I like them, and I think that every time they reach this stage of the competition, being in the mix to win the title, at the end, it's either they win La Liga title or they are very close to doing it. So, Atletico for me is a big favorite in this game, only because Villarreal, which I like by the way, are way more inconsistent. Look, the other day they scored 4 goals against Mallorca in only 8 minutes. And their firepower is better than Atletico's, at least in La Liga terms, because Atletico has scored 34 goals, Villarreal has scored 38. Only 4 games this season for Villarreal has been scoreless, only 4, which is a low number. But then Villarreal concedes a lot of goals, and maybe that's a little bit unforgivable considering that Villarreal is not playing in Europe, that Villarreal is already out of the cup. Marcelino has to correct that, and a team like Atlético de Madrid can really capitalize Villarreal's poor defense or porous defense. So that's why I'm going to go for Atlético de Madrid, who is in a great moment despite the defeat against Leganes, Atlético to win 166. And I also like a bet which is pretty much identical in terms of value, which is over 2.5 goals. It pays 165. And I can see Villarreal attacking, not necessarily scoring, but attacking, which opens up spaces a little bit more. So over 2.5 goals, 165.
Very good game, perhaps the best one in this match day. Atlético de Madrid, Villarreal. We have higher odds for the home team in the next game, Sevilla, Espanyol. We didn't see the win against Girona coming, but Sevilla were better. They had more chances, and at the end, thanks to a great goal scored by 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗀, the best player by far of this Sevilla, they won the game. As we said before, they are ahead of Betis, and this is important for them. Let's see if they are able to keep that good result, Álvaro, at home, where they are actually okay. They are 7th in the home standings against Espanyol, the worst away team in La Liga, with only 1 point.
Only 1 point for Espanyol away. They got that point strangely against Atletico, but it was August, and Atletico was probably adapting still to the new players. But yeah, 1 point away for Atlético de Madrid. For Espanyol, they got it against Atletico, and they are traveling to Sevilla. And very quickly on Sevilla, if there was for their home form or their home point tally, Sevilla will be 7th in the table, which is not great, but that tells you that they are better at home than 13 other football teams. That's why I'm going to back them. I think the money is pretty decent. Espanyol away has been bad. I know that at some point they will win away. But, I'm inclined to back Sevilla here, 100%. And very quickly on 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗀. I mean, his goal against Girona was a beauty. García Pimienta maybe went a little bit too far saying that 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗀 could play for Madrid or Barcelona, but I think that he was very much hyped after 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗀 scored that goal at Montilivi. the truth is that 𝗀𝗵𝗂𝐿's contribution is incredible for Sevilla. He has scored the 39% of the team's goals. Not only that, in the standings for dribbles in La Liga, he is the joint leader altogether with Lamine Yamal. So 𝗀𝗵𝗂𝐿 is taking on players, he's being decisive, he's leaving players behind, scoring goals. If it wasn't for him, Sevilla would be in a worse place. Isaac Romero is not available for Sevilla this game, but still I believe that Sevilla has what needed to win this game. Let's see if, by the way, 𝗵𝗵𝗏 stays or not, because the rumor says that Aston Villa may be interested in signing the player after Diego Carlos left to Fenerbahce, but anyway, that's another story. I think that Sevilla to win, considering that Espanyol away from home has been really poor and only got 1 point so far, is almost a safe bet. Sevilla to win one.
Diego Carlos, not a great deal for Aston Villa. He got signed from Sevilla and he got injured. So unfortunately for him, his career in the Premier League has not been good. And last game we have on Saturday is Valladolid Real Madrid. Must win for Los Blancos, top of the table against bottom of the table, although Valladolid won the last 2 home games against Betis and Valencia, but is the team with lower odds to go to Segunda División, so the bookies think they will go down. And Real Madrid, Alvaro, bounced back after conceding very early against Unión Deportiva Las Palmas. They are also focused in the Champions League, where they have 2 big games to qualify still for the next round. And for this game, Vinicius is still suspended, but perhaps it's not a big issue, seeing how good Rodrigo played from the left against Unión Deportiva Las Palmas, and also the good form of Kylian Mbappé.
Yes, right now Real Madrid has a lot of options up front, and not having Vinicius, is not ideal, but it's not a massive problem, because Mbappé, Rodrigo, Bellingham, and so on, they can step up. And Mbappé actually stepped up in the last game, and the truth is that he's playing very well. I think Real Madrid is going to win this game. I have little doubt about that, really. And I do believe that Real Madrid is in a better moment right now than they were a few weeks ago. Mainly because they know that this is their chance. I think Real Madrid has achieved an advantage that maybe they weren't expecting to have, definitely over Barcelona, 7 points. And normally the team doesn't waste their chances when it comes to this stage, or when their opponents just give them this kind of present, 7 points. I mean, that's a lot. So I think Real Madrid wins this game, because Real Madrid has won the winnables in La Liga, or most of the winnables. Don't forget that they lost to Barcelona, they drew with Atlético, they lost at Bilbao. So basically they got 1 point out of 9 against the top 4 of La Liga, and yet they are leading the table. That is because they are winning the rest of the games, the winnables. So I'm going to go for Asian handicap minus 1.5. Minus 1.5 for Real Madrid. 75. I think they can win by 2 goals. Why do I say this? Because Valladolid is the worst side of the tournament at home as well, not only in the league, but at home. They got 12 points at home, which they are the joint leaders with some other teams, but their goal difference at home is bad, it's minus 5. And they got the worst goal difference in total, minus 25, by a mile. They have scored only 14 goals in 20 games. And their forwards in the squad are not dangerous. Between Silla, Marcos Andrés, and Latasa, they have scored only 3 goals. Only 3 goals by their forwards. I think Real Madrid can score 2, and there is a likelihood that Valladolid doesn't score even 1. Okay, so I could go for a clean sheet for Real Madrid, but maybe I prefer to go for an Asian handicap minus 1.5 for them. Plain and simple, 175. Mbappé in this form, and Bellingham, Rodrigo, and all these players, I do believe that they can score a few at Zorrilla.
Of course, big favorites. Real Madrid cannot drop points in this game. The derby against Atlético de Madrid will be very soon in 2 games, so they should keep winning. Next game is away again against Espanyol, still a winnable game to stay on top of the table. On Sunday, Álvaro, 4 games, Rayo Vallecano, Girona also playing in the Champions League, and we have great odds to back Rayo Vallecano. They are the underdog for this game, and they are in really good form, undefeated in the last 6. It's true that they are drawing a lot of games, but this Girona, to be honest, is a nightmare for bettors, because I thought they were going to get something from Sevilla, and they lost despite taking the lead, and they have in the Champions League Milan and Arsenal. So not sure how fit or tired they will be for this game in Vallecas.
Yeah, Girona is a team that has gotten used to losing many games, and that is dangerous. They have won only 3 games of the last 10, which is, a worrying figure. And then they don't draw a lot either. When they can draw a game, they end up losing it. So this is Girona right now, and they are playing against Rayo Vallecano. And the last time Rayo Vallecano lost was on the 1st of December. And I think that under Íñigo Pérez, Rayo Vallecano is a competitive side. Of course, Girona can be good and dangerous on their day, but I believe that Rayo Vallecano can get something out of here. So for this game, I've got 2 suggestions. I feel that over 2 goals can happen, because Rayo Vallecano at home can score, and Girona doesn't have a lot of firepower, but they are set up and prepared to score goals. That's the way they play. So over 2 goals, 166, okay, but I prefer a draw no bet for Rayo. Yeah, a draw no bet for Rayo is a very interesting one. 195, you said before, the odds are very favorable. No, the odds don't trust the Rayo as much, to put it some sort of way. So maybe here there is a little corner for an opportunity for us. A draw no bet for Rayo, a team that has been more than decent at home this season. 195, I take it.
Next game is gonna be Real Sociedad Getafe. Very busy the schedule for Real Sociedad with the Europa League, with the Copa del Rey. And it looks like in La Liga they keep struggling. The defeat against Valencia, bottom of the table at that time, was not good for them, still out of the European spots, and now they suffered, I would say, the visit of Getafe, an expert of making things very difficult for the rival, as we saw with Barcelona, but this Getafe is still struggling, Álvaro. They are only 1 point away from the bottom 3. The squad is not good enough, and Bordalás is making miracles.
Yeah, he's doing a good job against Barcelona. Getafe knew how to compete in that game. They had one chance, they scored it, and then Barcelona couldn't convert a few chances. But Getafe away from home, they have achieved only 5 points. So we have to take that into consideration. Normally they are better when they play at the Coliseum. But for me, this is a game that screams under. Because Real Sociedad has conceded 14 in La Liga. 14. One more than Atlético de Madrid. The defensive record is very good. And Getafe has conceded 17, which there is a lot of merit in that, because Getafe is just bordering relegation places, and they have conceded only 17. So, both teams are suffering as well from the same issue, not having a good number 9, either in the squad or either available, because Real Sociedad still are trying to find out who can play as a number 9 and make the difference. They still haven't solved that issue. And when it comes to Borja Mayoral, who is the best number 9 Getafe has, it looks like his knee gets a lot of inflammation after training or after playing. So Mayoral, for example, the other day didn't play against Barcelona despite him being in the bench. That's because Bordalás is not still very sure about using him. The player has a problem with his health and his knee. So, no good number 9s in this game. 2 sides that don't score a lot. 2 sides that they are defensive-minded in a way, especially Getafe. And a team like Real Sociedad who plays on Thursday. Therefore, maybe Real Sociedad has a slow start because Imanol Alguacil doesn't have a deep squad to rotate from. I'm going to go for under 0.75 goals in the first half, 174. Am I saying that the first half can finish 0-0? Yes, but I am also saying that if the finish is 1-0, for example, or home or away 1-0, you get a little bit of a safety net if you go for under 0.75. Because if that happens and one goal happens, you only suffer half a loss.
Indeed, screams and under, of course, between these two teams. Real Sociedad is struggling a lot to score. Getafe the same, and Getafe, they have a really good defense. It pays very little. Imagine the under 2.5 goals pays only 1.3, so absolutely nothing. Next game, Athletic Leganes. Great win for Athletic in Vigo after a difficult start of the year to keep this big distance with Villarreal 6 points ahead, and Leganes, what to say, killing giants in this La Liga, beating Atlético de Madrid, beating Barcelona recently to stay out of the relegation spots.
And they beat Sevilla. I mean, I know that Sevilla is not what they were, but Sevilla is one of the good Spanish teams. They beat Sevilla back in November, I remember. Look, when the Leganes wins, normally they do it by 1 goal. They have won by 1 goal 4 of their 5 wins. But, Leganes, from all the promoted sides, are the most competitive, that's for sure. I think that they have a very good structure. Borja Jiménez is a very good manager, in my opinion, and he will probably travel away from Leganes at some point to join a better side, or a side that can pay him more wages. But up till now, Leganes has written a few chapters for their own history, like, for example, beating Barcelona. That was very nice. And beating Atlético de Madrid is something that we shouldn't overlook either. But they are traveling to San Mamés, and I have to say that Athletic Club Bilbao is a very consistent club. I mean, in the league, they have suffered only 3 defeats, Edu, and the last one was against Girona in October, in a game in which they missed 3 penalties, by the way. So, things could have gone in a very different way. Athletic is quite reliable right now, and I know that Leganes got 7 points of the last 15, which is good. But they are a side that is a little bit toothless away from home, especially to the point that they want on loan Deserts from Glasgow Rangers, a footballer that maybe is a little bit out of their reach. And I trust Athletic here. I think that, yes, like Real Sociedad, they could suffer from being a little bit tired, but the rotations for Ernesto Valverde have worked so far. And Athletic Club Bilbao, I think that they know that they have a real opportunity to qualify for the Champions League via La Liga. The win against Celta was very telling, a very difficult win in a difficult ground, and here at home they shouldn't waste the chance. So Athletic Club Bilbao to win maybe doesn't pay enough for my taste. I'm going to go for Athletic to win the second half, 175.
All right, next game, good one, Barcelona-Valencia on Sunday. We are going to see this game also in the quarterfinals of the Copa del Rey. Barcelona under pressure in La Liga because I'm not sure if the title hopes are over or almost, because 7 points away from Real Madrid are too many. Doing great in other competitions, as we saw in the Champions League. In the Russian roulette, they played in Duluth against Benfica, but in La Liga, it's only 1 win in the last 8 games. It looks like they switch off for La Liga. And Valencia, Alvaro, with the new manager, they are more competitive. They've been competitive in all the games, basically, under the new manager. And finally, the first win arrived against Real Sociedad.
Real Sociedad, yeah. A good work by Valencia. Gaya was back and he was very good in that game, the captain. Valencia under Corberán has been very competitive to the point that they've been only behind in the scoreline for 4 or 5 minutes in 3 games, which is, it tells you something, right? Because they played against Real Madrid, for example, and they only lost that game in the last minute. Then beating Real Sociedad is quite something. Real Sociedad is not the most flashy or entertaining side at this point, neither the most reliable, but they're still solid and rocky, and Valencia beat them. So, Valencia is definitely an improved side. And they are playing against Barcelona. Barcelona needs the 3 points. They really need the 3 points. I believe that in La Liga, it's a little bit inexplicable for me what happened to Barcelona, because yes, I can tell you, against Leganes, they played really badly. But the other day against Getafe, they just didn't convert their chances. I mean, a team like Barcelona that has been converting their chances all the time, like they did against Benfica, they did against Bayern, they did against Real Madrid, against Getafe, just they couldn't. And Rafinha had a couple of really good ones that he couldn't convert. Then Barcelona should have beaten Atlético. So maybe they've got less than they deserve. But, this is not about deserving anyway. Barcelona has to correct their trajectory in La Liga if they want to be title contenders. I think it's going to be difficult for them to win La Liga, honestly. Cutting 7 points on Real Madrid at this stage is not easy. But there are positives that we have to take about Barcelona. They are the highest scoring side in La Liga and probably in the Champions League too, after what they did against Benfica. Then Alejandro Valde, I never speak about him, but he's playing really well, and he has become one of the good players, at least in this period of the season, with his running with the ball being quite incisive. Lewandowski has scored 28 goals already. 28 goals already is a very good number. And, a few things are still good, if not many things for Barcelona. So if the attitude is there and the focus is there, I think that they should beat Valencia. So I'm going to go for the following. Over 1.5 goals in the second half, 167, because the games of Barcelona normally are a goal feast. Normally, okay? I mean, I remember Leganes, I remember Getafe, but normally goals happen. So over 1.5 goals in the second half, 167. Then there is a combination here, 𝗵𝗍𝗀𝗀 that I do like. Barcelona to win and over 3.5 goals in the game. It pays 2.3, but this Valencia has been quite rocky, and I prefer to refrain from that, because Valencia has discovered a new solidity, okay? The combination is good, makes sense, but I prefer to go plain and simple for over 1.5 goals in the second half, 1.67. Valencia could score too.
Well, let's see if Barcelona keep competing for La Liga, so far doing better in the other competitions, including the Champions League, where they are already in the last 16 round. And for Monday, we have Alavés, Celta de Vigo. Our friend 𝐬𝐭𝐿𝐴 is the big name in this game. Alvaro, former Celta manager, now in Alavés, and he got the first win in Alavés, beating Betis away with 𝐿𝐿𝐴𝐻, scoring a hat-trick. Celta lost to Athletic, as we know. Way worse, away from home is only one win. Wow, this is very, very tough. We can see in the odds that it's very difficult to go 1x2.
I'm going to go for an under, and I know that Celta is playing, and Celta, scoring-wise, they've been decent this season, 29 goals. Alavés 24, which is not that bad for a team in that zone or in that part of the table. Alavés has scored way more goals than Leganes, Getafe, Espanyol, Valencia, and Real Valladolid, the teams that he's surrounded by on the table. But I'm going to go for an under in this game, because Celta is in a bad moment. That's unquestionable. I mean, the numbers are there. 3 defeats in the last 5 games. And 𝗵𝗍𝗀, one of the main attacking weapons, strangely, but it's factual, is not available for this game. And then Alavés, yes, I take your point that Quique García is scoring goals. He has scored 8 goals already. 8 goals. And the main difference between Alavés and some other sides looking to avoid relegation is that squad, 3 forwards in the squad, and they have only scored 3 goals between them. Quique García does that job. For Alavés. All that said, this could be an under, in my opinion. Alavés got 12 points at home, which is not a lot. And Celta away is not reliable. And I do believe that Alavés will try to keep it tight, because that is the secret for Alavés to stay in La Liga. So under 2.5 goals, 165.
Well, Alvaro, of course, if you fancy, you can also post your tips in the Oddspedia website. And remember that we have many competitions going on. You can win some cash prizes and also create your own competition thanks to rivals. Let's go with your safe bet.
Yeah, it will be Asian handicap minus 0.25 for Atlético de Madrid, 145.
ACCA?
Atletico to win and over 1.5 goals in that game. Sevilla to win. Barcelona to win the second half. Altogether 471.
Thank you, Alvaro. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.